and we should be able to enjoy it as adults. And last, the game should be full of adventures and unforgettable characters. Yeah. This is natural led us to Pinocchio because it matched the conditions we set. Yeah. I had loved Pinocchio when I was a child, but I was shocked when I read it again more carefully recently. The adventures of the Pinocchio is definitely not a story for children, but rather like an R-rated movie for adults. It was a real pleasure to take the fantastic source material and create our own original story. Totally free.
I bet it is, and now we're at Gamescom showing it off to the world.
Yeah. So when you brought up the initial idea of making a game based on the story of Pinocchio, honestly, I was not convinced at all. Yeah, I was thinking that Pinocchio is a story for just for kids, not sure for online soul-like games. However, even though I read Pinocchio's story a long time ago, I remember it vaguely, so I went to the bookstore, bought the book, and read it again. And what I've learned is that Pinocchio is not just a fairy tale. It's more like a reflection of human nature and filled with a lot of unique and attractive characters. That's when I realized this is something we have to do, revitalizing this amazing story as a game.
I think it sounds like I might need a reread of Pinocchio then. But until then, do you want to give us a bit of a deep dive of the story and the world that your Pinocchio inhabits?
As you already know, Lies of P is based on the original story of Pinocchio, which is actually quite brutal. And while the main characters in Lies of P are from the Pinocchio, our game's story is completely different and filled with new events. For example, Lies of P takes place in the imaginary city of Krat, where petrification disease is spreading and causing a lot of conflict. And while you meet a lot of familiar characters from the Pinocchio, they want to be anything like you remember. Yeah. We introduced the Black Rabbit Brotherhood before, but I'd also like to tell you about Antonia, who appears at the beginning of the trailer. In the original story, Antonia is actually Antonio, Geppetto's friend. That is all I can leave it today, though. I will save the rest for the future.
I was going to say, I definitely don't remember these masks from my childhood. It's got to be said.
Yeah, so me too. My favorite is Black Rabbit Brotherhood. They're also in the original story. Poor Black Rabbit holding a coffin on their shoulders. They're in Lies of P. They are not just rabbit. They are brutal warriors. They are still carrying a coffin and always trying to squeeze you into it. I really want to see how you guys survive when they're hunting you.
So, in order to go up against them, I have seen from the trailer so far that there are some ridiculous weapons, and you can even take some enemies to the wood shop with them, if I saw that correctly. So talk us through the combat we can expect from Lies of P, and how similar is it to the Souls-like games we've been seeing recently?
I can confidently say that Lies of P is full of a unique and one-of-a-kind battle system. And the first system I'd like to talk about is the weapon combination system. Weapons are divided into two parts, the blade and the handle, and can be combined in countless ways. Each blade and handle have their own weight, motions, features, and special skills called flavor art.
Oh, okay.
So players are free to mix and match and create the perfect weapon for them. It should be fun to try out more than 100 of possible combinations.
Wow.
And another unique system in Lies of P is the Legion Arm system, which you probably already saw on the main character's left arm.
Yep.
He has actually body of perfect, so it's possible to modify it with the parts and use special skills. They are particularly flashy and dynamic and can also be strengthened. It'll be fun to choose the right Legion arm for the situation you are in.
Now, I had a chance to play it earlier, by the way, I'm just going to say, and it is so difficult. So I just want to let anyone know out there that this game is so difficult, you are going to absolutely love it. But to answer the elephant in the room, obviously the original Pinocchio game had a big emphasis on his nose growing with every single lie. So I have to ask, does this element of the Pinocchio story play into Lies of P at all?
Yeah. First of all, I think that lying is the most important aspect of the original story. Yeah.
Agreed.
And when you really think about it, yeah, humans are capable of lying, and that can also be proof of their humanity. Yeah. This also means that we approach the concept of lying in a completely different way than the original. Yeah. Think about it. Is there any more human than using lies to achieve something? Yeah. We think that in order to become real human, one has to lie, and that is reflected in the game by players experiencing a variety of events by lying. The choices they make will also affect the ending. Yeah. As for what this might do to his nose, I can spoil it for you.
Oh, dang it.
And you need to find it out for yourself. But I can guarantee you will not expect anything.
I tell you what, when the full game comes out then, the first thing I'm testing is the lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the game you can lie if you be a human, but always remember, the Black Rabbit Brotherhood is always looking for a chance to put all liars into the coffin.
Right, okay, moving swiftly onwards from that then. There had to be a ton of people putting a lot of time into Lies of P to pull the strings, pun intended, to get a game like this off the ground. So can you talk about the development process, and were there any difficulties actually getting people to buy into this reimagining?
Actually, in Korea, the majority of games are online PC and mobile games. So there aren't many developers with expertise in single-player games for console.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we did a lot of trial and error and made a lot of mistakes. But this was unavoidable. Yeah. Despite these challenging circumstances, the fact that our team, has a lot of developers who already had experience with console game projects was a major help. Yeah. Most of all, our team absolutely loves console games, so it was easy to get everyone on board with our visions for Lies of P. Yeah. I would like to give all the credit to our team members. They are the reason why Lies of P could come this far. Yeah. And I'm really proud of our team.
And I'm sure they are so proud of you both sat here today representing the game as well. So shout out to you two in particular.
Yeah, it is the first time for us to make a single player game. We all have a lot of experiences on developing action games, but only limited to online games. At first, I was thinking that making single player games would be easier in terms of technical perspective, like no network sync issues, etc. But it didn't take long that I realized I underestimated. Yeah, our game needed a lot of features we haven't even imagined when we develop online games.
Okay.
We only have one playable character, which is easier to make because online games normally have more than 5.
Very true.
But this one playable character, I mean Pinocchio, requires, I guess, 10 times more animations than the online games.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, Pinocchio uses a lot of different types of weapons, and each weapon requires total unique animations of, total set of total unique set of animations. So I have to admit, our initial plan was off in terms of estimating the cost of the animations.
Yeah.
So if you look at our studio, and probably you can see our animated artists and combat designers yelling at each other and arguing all the time. We are still in this chaos, but anyway, we are enjoying it, and definitely we'll be better at planning it next time.
Well, I really appreciate that you brought the chaos to us here in Germany, but before we run out of time, I do want to give you the floor to share anything you want with everyone out there about Lies of P before its release.
Actually, we didn't expect the Lies of P to get this much interest and love from gamers. We really want to thank you all for the tremendous level of support. We'll do our absolute best and are sure that you will be mesmerized by the city of cards. Take care and see you in the Xbox Game Pass next year.
Hell yeah.